47, and he said when he turned on the final approach onto the airport, not only did the runway disappear underneath the nose, but half the cotton picking airport did too.
Yes, the position of the pilot set in the boomerang is a little bit closer than 10 feet, but being a radial engine, it's a lot wider, so it has a similar effect. You just lose sight of the runway quite easily.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, you probably won't like this, but we will talk quietly or not at all while the wonderful Spitfire's in the air. We'll use a little bit of music because this is just a wonderful aeroplane to listen to and to see in the air.
Amazing performance, Will, and that engine's hardly even trying.
I'm sure it must have been an amazing thing to have one young RAAF pilot to bring his brand new Spitfire through on a refuelling stop through to Temora when it's a 38-degree midsummer's day and the instructor's been yelling at you and you've been bouncing around in a Tiger Moth to actually see what you may one day be able to fly.
Yeah, just that add a bit of incentive for what might be ahead for you down the track. The beautiful sounds that rule and just reverberate across the airfield, don't they? It's one of those classic sounds that you can't hear anywhere else but coming from one of these type of aircraft.
Yes, the wonderful Merlin engine was used in things like under licence. It was used in the P-51. It's virtually the same engine, just built under licence by people like Packard in the US. And the engines can be made to sound considerably different with just things like different exhaust pipes and a different propeller on the engine and which engine it actually is. There was a low altitude version of this engine and a high altitude version. The Spitfire wing itself was designed by Mr. Mitchell to be as efficient as you possibly could make an aeroplane to be at the time, and as such had a really high Mach number. A Mach number is basically a scale that you measure the ability of the wing, and the Mach number of this wing was actually high enough for some very, very brave guys near the end of the war, when they started to understand a little bit more about flying near the sound barrier, to actually do some very high-speed dives in the aeroplane and experiment with that flight regime. The wing shape is quite complex to build, and early in the war when the UK
He's not armed today, Wal, because fairly formidable sight to have that Spitfire screaming across at you at low altitude. So with guns blazing, it would have been a pretty frightful place to be.
Yes, and you can actually see very well the throw over from the Wirraway. This aeroplane was operated in the Pacific, so there is no red roundels on the aeroplane other than the big obvious nose on the aeroplane, but you can also see on the Wirraway you have the white leading edges, and on the Spitfire you have the white leading edges, and that was one of the ways that the guys on the ground very quickly could see friend or foe. Probably should clear up the little argument about that we get from time to time. And whilst the Americans did also use it,
fun fact that not too many people might know as well, that was the last pass days of this beautiful aeroplane with a Victor roll off the end. But when they first came out to Australia during the Second World War, there was a bit of an attempt made to hide the fact.
You're right if you're into wind, but today I had about sort of 10 knots on the right to take off, which was okay, but you probably noticed I came round and landed on runway 05. I landed into the wind, so I made my life a bit easier.
That's good, yes. It's lovely. We've had a few Spitfire Mark 1